episode 23, and in this week's episode, we're looking at how you could possibly earn more ADA rather than continuously buying it. Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Learn Cardano podcast, the podcast where we break down all the ins and outs of Cardano so that you can earn a living from Cardano. That's right, we're going to teach you how you can earn more ADA. I'm your host, Peter Buey, and this week's episode, I'll be going through the NFT craze and how you could possibly create your own NFTs, sell them on marketplaces, and earn some ADA that way. I'll also be looking into how you can set up an online store that has a payment gateway that can accept ADA as payments. So these are a couple of really cool ways that you can get online accepting cryptocurrencies, specifically ADA, as your payments for all the things that you may be doing online. So we'll be going through all that in this week's episode. But before we get into that, I'd just like to read a review that came in for the podcast. This one's from Jean, and it reads, "Love the show. It took me a long time to figure out how to do this, but trust me, you got a 5-star review in my head a long time ago. Thanks for helping me keep up to date with all things Cardano and for being my entertainment on walks with a baby in the stroller." And thank you so much for leaving the review, Jean. It's an absolute pleasure to keep you entertained. Now, if you'd like to leave a 5-star rating review, it really helps with the discoverability of the podcast. It bumps it up in the algorithm listings on the Apple Podcast Network. And Apple Podcasts is where we get the majority of our traffic for the audio podcast. So leaving a 5-star rating review is the easiest thing that you can do to help support the podcast. So just jump onto the Apple Podcasts app. That's if you listen to it on the Apple Podcasts app, and then you'll be able to leave that lovely 5-star rating review. I'm looking forward to reading more and more of those as they come in. So let's get into the news for this week. Did you happen to hear about Ethereum's blockchain split? It didn't even affect the price, which I found quite interesting. But this bug was introduced when a software update was released and only half of the node operators upgraded and the other half didn't. They were on the slightly older version. And because of this, there were essentially 2 chains that had appeared, and miners were mining blocks on one and others were mining blocks on the other. So this causes all sorts of problems such as double spending, and if it was left unchanged and left as it is, the Ethereum blockchain would have had 2 separate chains where people were spending on one, people were spending on the other, and they wouldn't sync up because they were using different software updates. Now, this isn't the first time that this has happened. It's happened numerous times before, and I'll link to some references in the show notes so that you can reference when this has happened before on the Ethereum blockchain. Now, this doesn't happen in Cardano because of the way that the hard forks and software updates work. You could say they're a little bit more backwards compatible. If we look at some of the stats of the nodes, we can see what versions of the software it's running. And if we look at the stats, there are some that are still running really old versions of Cardano's node, and it is still working as it should. And if you also look at which nodes have actually upgraded for Alonzo, you can see a portion of them have actually upgraded as well to version 1.29.0. So some have already upgraded to that, even though it's not quite ready to happen, but it doesn't affect it too badly. If a node was to miss their block, the next node will pick up the transactions and wrap it and apply it to the blockchain. So it's not a be-all, end-all if a node upgrades or isn't upgraded to the latest version of Cardano node. It will allow and compensate for that by letting the next node operator pick up the transactions and compile it into their block for minting and then processing the blockchain that way, adding the links to the blocks. So it is far less likely that you'll see this type of issue that you saw on the Ethereum blockchain in Cardano, just purely because of the way it's being architected and how it works. In other news, the NFT space is picking up momentum again. It's going absolutely gangbusters. On the Cardano ecosystem, we're starting to see more and more NFTs being created. The process is getting easier. There are more services out there that are creating and allowing people to create NFTs. So that is getting a lot easier. But if you look at other blockchains, I was talking to some old colleagues in the Joomla space, the content management system that I used to be deeply involved in, and they were getting into NFT games and NFT gaming in general. And they were talking about flipping characters and cards for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's absolutely mind-boggling how much money is flowing through this ecosystem at the moment. And let me just read you some of these stats that I was looking at in regards to some of these NFTs. So these numbers are in US dollars. The first one that seems to have broken records is a $194 million sale of a CryptoPunk. So these are little graphics of some CryptoPunk character, and it's been trading for quite a while, like all these different CryptoPunks. And this last one sold for a record $194 million, which is absolutely crazy. And there's some other ones here. This is a bored apes. So it's an ape that's bored. Check out the links to it in the show notes. You'll see what I'm talking about. And that one sold for $20 million. Not bad. It's quite impressive. Now, Visa also got into Visa, the transaction company that with the credit cards, that Visa, yes. They also got in on the action buying a CryptoPunk for $165,000. Now, Visa is known for buying a lot of this memorabilia and kind of milestone things within the currency fiat space. So they've just added a CryptoPunk to their collection of collectibles. Now, not to be left out, Budweiser, the beer company in the United States, followed suit and bought a $126,000 Rocket NFT and an Ethereum domain name. I think it was beer.eth to be exact. But the funny thing is that someone got their public address for their Ethereum address and posted a dick pic. Yep, that's right. A hand-drawn dick pic was posted to Budweiser's NFT wallet, and hey presto, they suddenly had a dick pic in their collection of NFTs. Hey, why not? Why not troll Budweiser in the most awesome way possible by sending them a dick pic? Now, the best thing to illustrate the absolute madness of this NFT craze is a thing called Ether Rocks. It's an illustration of a rock, different colors, slightly different sizes, but the floor price for these rocks is now $2 million. There was one rock that was originally purchased in June for $1,400 and has just been sold for $3.3 million. Yep, that's right, $3.3 million US dollars. It's absolutely crazy. Now, some of the Cardano space NFTs are picking up in value and in price, especially with the value of ADA that's increasing at the moment as well. And we're seeing larger and larger sales. Now, I won't go into too much more because I want to save this all for the main topic for tonight. So let's get straight into it. How to earn more ADA. So in last week's episode 22, I talked about how much ADA you would need to retire and live off the staking rewards. So we put the basis in, you would need a certain amount of ADA per year to live off, and then with the price and increase of ADA and your rewards that you're getting, how much ADA do you actually need to live off all of those rewards? So if you haven't checked it out, please go back to episode 22 and listen to that. But from that episode, a lot of people came to me and said, I just don't have the currency, I don't earn enough to buy ADA as it is. And with the price increasing, it makes it harder and harder to get into the ecosystem. So a lot of them feel like it's a lost opportunity. But there are ways to earn more ADA and increase it so that you can delegate that to a stake pool, hold it into your wallet, delegate it to a stake pool, and earn more rewards. So the easiest ways that I could work out is either to create NFTs and sell them to other people that have a huge amount of ADA in the Cardano ecosystem, or start accepting ADA as a payment method, payment gateway, on your online store. So if you run an online store, if you're doing consultation or selling products and services online, there are ways that you can enable ADA payments so that you can start accepting ADA as a cryptocurrency on your website and getting paid in ADA instead of fiat currency. So let's start off with the NFTs. Now, at the time of writing and recording this episode, the era of smart contracts hasn't come about yet. So there are a lot of features with smart contracts that make NFTs really appealing. One of them is the royalties for life. So you can make a smart contract on an NFT, and each time that NFT gets sold from one person to another, so as it's continuously traded, you as the original creator and owns the royalties to it can get paid a certain percentage. So maybe a 2% fee or maybe even a 10% fee for each time that piece of artwork is sold. This is something that's really appealing to regular contemporary artists. So if you are NFTing your digital art pieces, you always get those rewards. It's kind of like in the music industry. Each time a song is played, you will get royalties for that song being played, whether it's on the radio, it's on Spotify, whatever it is, you'll get royalties as things move along so that you can continuously earn revenue long after your song was released. So you can keep on earning those royalties. Now, with blockchain technology being so easily available now with smart contracts, NFT artists can apply a smart contract to their NFTs. So each time it gets sold, they'll get those royalties too. So this is really cool. You see it in the Ethereum space and other blockchains that have smart contracts and are selling NFTs that this is really happening. So it's no wonder that NFT artists are jumping on board, selling as much as they can. So each time it gets traded, the artists are earning a little bit extra all the way through the stages of things being sold, and popularity of things are increasing. The artists, the original creators, get those royalties. It's really cool and really interesting to see. Now, in the Cardano space, we're starting to see things like the Space Buds, which is one of the original Cardano NFTs that got sold out in a day, selling for so much more of what the original value is. I think I originally paid 90 ADA for one of my Space Buds, and I can see now that similar ones are being sold for 2,000 ADA each, and some even more, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm holding on to my little Space Bud and waiting for the right and perfect time to sell it. Or maybe I won't sell it because it is a little bit of memorabilia. It's something quite unique, something quite inspiring, I think, because it was one of the first NFT collections to come out. Now, speaking of NFT collections, there is one that I'm keeping my eye on, which looks absolutely amazing, and this is called Cardano City. If you haven't seen the Twitter account for this, check it out. Links are in the show notes. It is some amazing cyberpunk metaverse kind of futuristic style of drawing. And it seems to be that they're creating a whole metaverse, a whole universe around this idea and concept, this cyberpunk thing. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if it's going to be a visual game. I don't know if it's going to be a storyline thing. But whatever it is, it looks absolutely amazing. You check it out. It's on the show notes. Please have a look. Now, not everyone can create something absolutely amazing like this, but this is something to be looking into, something aspiring. Now, the NFT drop did get delayed. So it was supposed to be released already, but by the time that this podcast is released, if you're listening to it straight away, it should be released and dropped about 12 hours after. So if you're listening to this, keep an eye out on the Twitter account because the NFT drop for Cardano City is coming very, very soon. Now, some other notable projects that have launched on the Cardano blockchain, well, one more that I should say, is Unsigned Algorithms. Now, if you haven't seen or heard of this, check out their website. I'm pretty sure you may have seen some of these pieces floating around on Facebook, on social media, but it's algorithmically generated art pieces that is stored on the blockchain itself. So a lot of these NFTs, when they're created, the actual image of it is stored on something else called IPFS, the Interplanetary File Storage System. I think that's what it stands for off the top of my head. So that is where all the images of these NFTs are stored, and the metadata from the blockchain, the Cardano blockchain, just references these NFTs on the IPFS. Now, Unsigned Algorithms is different in that the blockchain itself holds the algorithm to actually generate these images. So you can take that algorithm and generate it yourself and generate huge versions of these images, high resolution images, so that you can use it for your own purposes. The one that comes directly on the blockchain is a lower resolution one that's quite small. It's still quite high and looks quite good. It's good for printing. But you can take that algorithm and generate billboard-size printouts of this. It's pretty cool, and it's all stored directly on the blockchain itself. So there's some really noticeable and noteworthy Cardano projects, Cardano NFT projects that have released and are doing really well. Now, how do you go about making your own? Glad you asked. I'm happy to tell you. I'm using a NFT platform called nftmaker.io. So it's nft-maker.io. I did an interview with Patrick Tobler back in episode 4, where he talks about his platform and how he's going to turn it into an NFT marketplace in the future. So he got funding in Catalyst, I believe it was Catalyst Fund 4, for that to actually happen. So it was voted for, it got funding. So Patrick's in the process of actually making that happen. He's also appeared on Cardano 360. I think it was Cardano 360. So he's had a couple of highlights here and there, and it's pretty cool that what he's putting together. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing the entire platform be fleshed out and actually created. But in the meantime, you can use his services to create your NFT. So what you need to do is, first off, have your NFT as an image. Go to the website, click on Mint an NFT, and start the process. You'll start by uploading the image, and this image will go to the IPFS servers. Now that will store your image forever on the network. And then the next thing that you need to do is click Next and fill in all the metadata for your image. Now you need to put in a title, the author's name, such as yourself, and a very short, small description of what your NFT is. You can also provide a file web link to the actual file itself. So if you're storing it elsewhere, you can provide it there. So that way, if the IPFS ever goes down or there isn't a connection to it, you yourself or the person that has purchased the NFT can get to it from the server where you upload it to. Of course, you need to upload it to a server where it's permanent, maybe a permanent file storage thing that's also in the cloud. Now, once you have done this, you will need to send at least 4 ADA. It's around 4 ADA. It fluctuates, it changes with the transaction fee costs. But essentially, this covers the cost of minting the NFT. You will send approximately 4 ADA. The system takes a small fee, mints your NFT, and then sends your NFT and a little bit of ADA back. Now, each time you send an NFT, it is treated as a token, and you also will need to send a minimum of 1 ADA in that transaction. So hence you need 4 ADA to be sent so that when they send the NFT back, it doesn't cost them, and they'll pay you back some of the ADA that you sent them. So in reality, I sent 4 ADA, but I got about 2 ADA back plus my NFT. So it's a very cheap, very cool, quick service. So I tested out this process and I created my very first NFT for my daughter. So it was my first NFT that I ever created, NFT image, and something for my daughter's future ADA fund. So I've posted a link to that on the show notes so you can check it out. It's something that she actually created in Photoshop herself. I just plonked her in front of the computer, showed her how to use the mouse, and she went crazy, clicking on circles and colors and creating her little art piece. So that's her first one. It's called Snowman. There's a YouTube video of it that I've embedded with the NFT as well. So you can check out that YouTube link. So I'll let you try and work it out, see if you can get to the metadata of it. You can check out the YouTube video, and it's her clicking around and then clicking the wrong buttons and not working out. So it's all there. If anyone wants to buy that, let me know. So that takes me to selling your NFT. There aren't too many places where you can sell your NFT at this point in time. There is one that's probably really noteworthy, and this is cnft.io. Now, at the time of recording this, they did have some upgrade issues, and the site had been down for over 8 hours. So it's a little unfortunate to see that, but the site's back up now, and I checked it out. I went through the registration process there, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But there are so many NFTs being sold on this platform, and it's really cool to see that it's thriving and growing. I did see some stats the other day, and they've sold millions of dollars worth of NFTs through the platform, and that's without smart contracts. That is the thing that's so amazing about this. So all these people are selling, they're making money and creating more value for them in the ecosystem, but without smart contracts. So there isn't this whole royalty thing that you would expect with NFTs at the moment, but the fact that they can do this where other blockchains can't without smart contracts is a really cool thing. So to sell an NFT on CNFTs, you'll just have to go through a couple of steps. First off, you need to sign up for an account on the website. But when you do, you need to actually send ADA to a dynamically generated address to verify that it's you. So to start selling on the website, you'll need to create an account. So create your username and password and log in. So once you've logged in, you actually need to then synchronize your wallet to the website. You can do this with the NAMI wallet, but there's also another method, which is something I'm quite familiar with because I've seen it on other websites too. But you need to send ADA to a particular address, which is dynamically generated, and a certain amount of ADA, which is also dynamically generated. Now, this is a process so it can uniquely identify your wallet, so it can see where the wallet ADA is coming from and say, this is your wallet. It will grab some data from that wallet, something called a state key, which is a very unique identifier for your wallet. And then that gets added to the website. Now, once it's added to the website, it's able to read what NFTs you have in your wallet so that then you can list those NFTs on the marketplace itself. So once you go through that process, you can define how much you want to sell a particular NFT for, list it, you need to pay a fee again, and from that point, you can start promoting, pimping out your NFT via social media networks, etc., and start selling your NFT. It's a pretty cool little process. It doesn't take too long once you get it up and running, and then you can start selling NFTs at any point in time. That wallet just be tied to your account, and that account can be filled up with various different NFTs so that you can start selling them on the marketplace. So it's quick, it's fairly easy to do, and I'll do a YouTube video so that you can get a better understanding of how this process works. But check it out, that little overview should get you through to the process where you can start selling your NFTs. Now, the other place that you can sell NFTs is on Discord servers. So every project that has created NFTs, an NFT collection, for example, SpaceBuds, has a Discord server. And on this Discord server, you can go and submit items for auction, you can buy things, or you can get something evaluated. So you can go on there and buy and sell your NFTs. Now, there are a couple of other Discord servers that you can get in on, and it will allow you to post your own personal NFT. CryptoFly77's Discord server, or Linda Rowland's Discord server, allows other artists to join in and start selling their NFTs on there as well. So I do believe you have to ask Linda for permission rather than just spamming the entire Discord server. But you can get in on there and start selling your NFTs through the auction system there. Now, another one that was just announced to me tonight when I was asking questions in regards to different ways to sell on Discord was Flowers Auction House. I had a quick look, and there are a lot of different collections on there and a lot of different things being sold. So that's another interesting one that you can get in on so you can start selling your NFTs. Now, of course, there's social media. If you're on Twitter and you're trying to pimp your NFT, you can spam it out to a whole lot of people and someone may look at it and go, hey, that's pretty cool. That's pretty nifty. I might look into buying that or looking at an auction when it's live. So just to recap, you can use nftmaker.io to create your NFTs and then start selling it on a marketplace such as cnft.io. Absolutely great websites, really cool little services that they've created, and it's not too expensive to start creating your own NFTs and start selling it to other Cardano community members or people that are just interested in NFTs themselves. Now, if you want to learn more about NFT projects or NFTs that are being launched on Cardano, a really cool project to check out is NFT Update. Now, they have a Twitter account. I've posted the links to it in the show notes for this podcast episode and also their YouTube channel. So this is a little team that have been interviewing different projects in the Cardano ecosystem all around NFTs. So I'm interviewing all these people that are building dApps and doing interesting things that way. But these guys are looking purely at the NFTs that are being created in the Cardano ecosystem. So please check that out. The show notes does have links to it. You can find the show notes at cardano.com.au/EP023. Now, the other way of earning ADA is to do it via an e-commerce website. So if you're selling goods and services online and you happen to have an e-commerce site that's built in WooCommerce or even Shopify, you can integrate in these particular payment gateways so that you can start accepting ADA instead of fiat currencies for things that you're selling online. Now, if you've never set up a WooCommerce site before, I have posted a couple of links, a couple of guides in the show notes as well, so that you can get your head around how to set up a WooCommerce site. Now, I've been doing this with my team for well over 13, 14 years of web development. So setting up a e-commerce site, especially on WooCommerce, is dead easy for me. I can get a site up and running within half an hour, fully themed and products imported, ready to go with payment gateways. So it really is a quick, easy process for me. So this is like a second nature. But for someone that's starting out for the very first time, it may be a little bit more difficult. Everything I'm talking about here, you can do on Shopify as well. So if you heard of Shopify, you may want to look at that as a solution. But it does cost a little bit more in regards to a subscription just to get started. So it's a little bit annoying that way. But it is a little bit easier to use and get up and running. Once you do have your store up and running, it's a matter of getting these payment gateways connected to your site so that you can start accepting cryptocurrencies and in particular ADA. Now on the cardano.com.au website, the website for this podcast, I am selling merchandise. I'm selling hoodies, t-shirts, socks, and stickers with space buds on them, and also a little design that I did, which is an ADA bull. It's a bull market, that kind of thing, kind of play on those words. I think some people got it. But you can buy hoodies online, and I'm using a payment gateway called Now Payments. I decided to use them. I've tried a whole bunch of different ones. I've tried coin payments. I've tried crypto.com's merchant thing. And the user experience for all of those were pretty average. I really didn't enjoy it. I really didn't like it. Especially with the coin payments one. It was actually a wrapped version of ADA tokens. So it was a Binance wrapped token, and it wasn't real ADA. So you'd have to do these weird things, and transferring the ADA out of coin payments was difficult as well. So I didn't go down that path. Now Payments makes it so much easier. This is the general process of what you need to do. First off, sign up for an account on Now Payments and go through their KYC process. That's pretty common for any of these third-party payment gateways. Next, you need to install the plugin, the Now Payments plugin, onto your WordPress site and connect it to your WooCommerce store. So it's a little bit of configuration that you will need to do. Once that's configured, you need to set up your Now Payments account with your ADA wallet. So you log in, you'll find where the setup is for which cryptocurrencies you want to accept, and then you'll put in your ADA wallet address. And that's it. You're essentially ready to start receiving ADA on your website. I, of course, would do a little test here, put up a $5 product or a 5 ADA product, I should say, and do a test transaction just to make sure everything is working. Now, the cool thing with Now Payments is that it can split the amount of ADA that you have. It can split some of it into fiat currency and pay you a little bit in fiat, and then split the rest into ADA or something else, and then put that towards your wallet. So if you had expenses that you need to account for at the time of sale, so let's say it is a hoodie and there is a base cost that needs to be paid in fiat currency, you can work out those margins and have that fiat currency paid out straight away so that you can cover your costs, and then the rest of it can be stored in ADA and then sent to your ADA address. So that's a really cool thing that Now Payments allows for, and that's probably why you'd want to use a third-party service like that. The other alternative is to use an open source payment gateway that accepts ADA, and this one's called Mercury. Now, I mentioned this one before. We did try and go down the path of creating this ourselves, and we put in a Catalyst proposal as well, but Mercury beat us to it. So this is a really cool standalone payment gateway that allows you to accept ADA directly to your wallet without a third party. So if you want to cleanly accept ADA and only have to pay that transaction fee that may come into your wallet, this is the best way of going about it. You'll simply need to install the plugin onto your website, configure it with an API key, and then put in the settings for your wallet address, and then enable the payment gateway, and you're essentially done. Of course, again, I would probably test this just to make sure everything works as it should, but this eliminates that third-party service and gets you accepting ADA directly from the peer directly to you, so the customer, I should say. So the customer can now pay you directly via your website, trigger all the workflows that needs to be triggered for an e-commerce store, and then you get the ADA directly into your wallet. So that's a huge benefit with Mercury compared to some of the other ones, in that it has to be bounced around a little bit, maybe converted and then sent to your wallet. Now, in researching this, there are some other payment methods as well. One called Coty ADA Pay, and this is one that was mentioned in the March Cardano 360 update, where they said they were partnering up with Coty to release this payment gateway thing they were doing, and tied in with the Save the Children Foundation. Now, it was a really cool announcement, but unfortunately, merchants that don't make over 50,000 USD per month aren't eligible for their service. So if you're making that much or more, Coty may be an option for you. But if you're not like us mere mortals, you will have to use one of the other options, such as Now Payments or the Mercury plugin for your store. Now, like I mentioned, if you want to support this podcast, you can leave a rating review, but hey, why not give ADA Payments a go? We're using Now Payments on our website. Check out our hoodie, check out our t-shirts, and see if there's anything that you like. Any of the purchases there helps out with the podcast. We get a little bit of ADA that's sent to us, and then we have to pay the suppliers that does the fulfillment for us as well. So it's a pretty cool little thing. So if you want to contribute that way, you can, and you get a little something back for it too. So I hope those are some pretty cool and interesting ideas and interesting methods in being able to accept ADA. So I've left you with an idea and concept of being able to create NFTs. You now know how to create those NFTs with NFTmaker.io. You know where to sell the NFTs and pimp them out so you can hopefully gain some extra ADA. And now if you're selling services online or have digital products or whatever it may be, you now have some options in regards to setting up payment gateways so that you can start accepting ADA on your online store. Now, this is all easy if you are a digital artist, you're fluent with computers, you have an online store already, you have a payment gateway that you're already using, and you have products that people want to buy. Yeah, sure. It's easy for anyone that is in that scenario, that sort of category of where they are in life. But if you don't, you now have to work out how to create an NFT art piece first, and then and then sell it, or create some sort of digital product that you can set up on a e-commerce store and then start selling. So it's easy for anyone that has already got the skills, know-how of creating digital art, or skills and know-how of how to set up a website and start selling digital products. But if you're not, at least this is a base for you now. You now know how to get there. You just need to have something to sell so that you can get there. Really hope this has helped you out, or at least inspired you to try and earn more ADA yourself. Please make sure you check out the show notes for this podcast episode. I've written everything down that I've mentioned. I would also be tweeting out to all the people that I've mentioned and thanking them for these awesome resources. Everything from Cody, AdaPay, Mercury, the developers of that payment gateway, Now Payments, which have created their integrations into ADA and Now Payments. And then, of course, all of the NFT projects, NFT Update, the Discord servers, Spacebuds, CryptoFly, and Flower Auction House, CNFT.io, and of course, NFTmaker.io, which have provided awesome resources for all of us in the Cardano ecosystem to actually get out and create a living out of this. So huge thanks to the teams there. All right, let's wrap things up. Now, hopefully this has inspired you and you are now frantically going through the process of minting an NFT. I'd love to see it. If you mint an NFT and get it online, please post me a link. I'll shout it out. I'll share it on Twitter and make sure everyone else sees all the really cool things that are being created in the Cardano ecosystem, especially around NFTs. So please make sure you tweet at me at CardanoAU, and I'll make sure it gets a big retweet and other people can see it. Now that's it for me for this podcast episode. Like I said, if you really enjoyed it, please consider leaving us a 5-star rating review. It really helps with the podcast discoverability, allows other people to find this really cool content. If not, check out our YouTube channel as well. We've got some new interviews being released very soon. One from DeFi and another one from Ardana. Hopefully that one goes ahead pretty soon. And they're pretty cool projects that have come out of the Occam ecosystem. So it's something pretty cool to follow up and learn a little bit more about. Now, like I say, always, please keep those seed phrases safe and secure and make sure you keep everything backed up. Till next time. Bye.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debating. IOHK, Emergo, we're not affiliated, not Cardano Foundation. We just gotta say it. A show that you can learn and it's for your entertainment. Yeah, you gotta check it. Don't wanna be missing that. You were tuned in to the Learn Cardano podcast. Yeah, giving insight. Ain't another show like this when it come to crypto. Invest at your own risk. Might not be for everyone, but who it is for, we keep giving you some info and plenty more. Hey, yeah, the Learn Cardano podcast. Hey, yeah, the Learn Cardano podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Keep it locked right here. Let's go.